Hello and welcome, everyone. My name is Mark, a trainer here at WEX Field Service Management, and today we are covering customer account management. This webinar will cover your customer list, how to add customers, how to search for customers, merging and deleting customer accounts, customer sync status if you're syncing to QuickBooks, how to view the customer page. We'll do a customer page overview, which includes the customer status, referral source, quick actions, billing and address locations, settings and preferences, attachments, timeline. We'll go over payments, equipment, maintenance plans, contacts, customer numbers, and some customer reporting at the end so you can manage your customers in bulk. We'll end with our live Q&A so you can ask questions and get those answered live on stream. And without further ado, let's dive into WEX FSM. All right. So when you log into your system, there is a main navigation in the top left, schedule, customers, jobs, etc. The first place we want to go to is the customers tab. So click on customers here in the main navigation. And this is your entire customer list on one page. Or I guess it's on several pages. You can click to different pages here, but you will be able to see all of your customers in your customer list. Every time you add a new customer into your system, it will build out a customer profile page where everything relating to that customer will be saved under that customer's account. You can search for customers from here. You can search by customer name, location, email address, phone number, and last visit date. And from this page, you will also see the auto sync status if you are syncing to QuickBooks. That's just letting you know whether they are ready to sync, which it will say ready here. And on the next sync, it will sync over to QuickBooks. If there's a sync error, it will let you know and tell you what the error is and what the system requires for it to be resolved. Syncing means that it is currently in the process of syncing, so it should be available in your QuickBooks soon after that. And synced just means that it is synced and you should have a copy of that now in your QuickBooks. To add a new customer, you will go to the top right and click the plus button. From here, this is the add a new customer module, and you can choose between a residential customer type or a commercial customer type. The biggest difference being that for commercial, you're putting in a business name and you will add contacts under that business versus residential, which is typically, there is no business name and you're just putting in the name of the main contact for that residence. Referral source will be a way to tag where this customer came from. You can set up your referral sources and make your own custom referral sources in your system. But as long as you have these set up, they will be available here. Maybe you're talking to the customer for the first time. Hey, how'd you hear about us? And they say, oh, I just searched you on Google and you were the first result. So then Google internet search. Then later, perhaps when you're doing a marketing campaign, you can pull customers by referral source for targeting. Something important to know when you're adding a new customer, if they do not have an email, you may run into this. Email is required by default. So it's always good to grab an email from your customers so you can contact them. But let's say they don't have an email or they didn't give you an email yet, you just have their name and address. You can bypass this requirement. Turn off, or turn on, you'll toggle on opt out of marketing emails and opt out of email notifications. If these are both turned on, the requirement for email goes away and you can add the customer without an email. So just a pro tip there for adding customers. Once you add that customer, they will show up in your customer list here, and you will be able to see their customer profile page. Now, once they're in your customer list here, you can select the account. If you want to delete an account, maybe you added somebody, but it was in error. They're already part of another account. You just want to delete this completely with no history. You can click delete, and that will permanently remove them from the system. If you want to merge accounts, let's say that you have two accounts and now you want them to become one account, use the merge feature. Select the two customer accounts you want to merge, click merge, and then if you are not syncing to QuickBooks, you don't have to worry about any order of operations. You just merge the accounts. If you are syncing to QuickBooks, we do have a warning here down at the bottom. This is kind of like a reminder of the order of operations to merge a customer. So the merge happens nice and clean between WEX FSM and QuickBooks. It says, not performing this merge in QuickBooks will result in sync errors if the master customer selected in QuickBooks is not the same as the master customer selected in Payzerware, aka WEX FSM. Looks like we need to update that. And when you select who you want the master to be, the information from the other account will simply merge into the master account. Once you have a master account selected, just realize that if you're syncing to QuickBooks, you'll want to do that merge in QuickBooks first before you merge in WEX FSM. So you have two accounts in QuickBooks, you have two accounts in WEX FSM, you want to merge them. Step one, pick the master and merge the accounts in QuickBooks. So now we have the master only in QuickBooks. Then merge in WEX FSM. Make sure you select the same master and merge them there. When the sync happens, it'll be a one-to-one sync, and now everything is connected once again. And that is merging customers. Now, this is the customer list. All your customers are in here. I would say you will most likely use this page for looking at sync statuses and merging and deleting customers. But you most likely won't come here to search for customers because in your day-to-day search, you'll actually use the quick search for customers in the top right. So for example, if I'm on the schedule page and I'm scheduling and I need to look up a customer account, I will use the customer search here and type in my customer name. Let's look for Justin. Now, since Justin Hernandez is a customer in my system, they will show up here. If he's not in the system, it won't show up, and that means we need to add them, which we would click the Add Customer button here. But Justin is in our account, so we will select him to go to his customer page. When you first look at the customer page, it can be a little overwhelming. There's a lot of buttons here, and that is what we're going to go over today. We're going to talk about each of these items, what they do, and maybe how you would use them. Each customer page has a left side and a right side, and we're going to start on the left side first. At the very top, we see our customer name. If you see a star here, that means that they have a maintenance plan attached to their account. If you offer maintenance plans, you'll be able to sell maintenance plans to your customers. And as soon as you attach the maintenance plan, you'll be able to see that very easily from here. You can even hover over the star and see which plan they're on at a glance. If you want to delete this customer profile, you can click the trash can icon here. Just under that, we have quick actions. These are different actions you can take. Message the customer will allow you to two-way text them, so like sending them a text message. You do have to have text messaging as part of your subscription for this to work. Log a phone call. Sometimes the customer will call and you're not going to do an appointment, but you want to document the conversation that you had. You can click log a phone call, enter in the info, and then that will save in their timeline for reference. Schedule an appointment. Now, we do have a schedule page where you can schedule appointments for all of your customers. You can see the dispatch board. But if I'm on the phone with the customer and we determine, all right, let's go ahead and get you scheduled, I don't have to go to the schedule page. I can just click schedule an appointment, and the exact same scheduling modal shows up here, just like it would on the schedule page. It just automatically knows that it's for this customer. Leave a note about the customer. So if you are a note taker, maybe you used to put things on sticky notes and you have sticky notes all over your desk, you can now keep those notes in your system. Click leave a note about the customer. And there's actually a nice feature with this. By default, this is going to just be a note. If I type in my notes here and hit save, it will save to the customer timeline on the right. And as I add new jobs, it will push that note down in the timeline. You can reference it later. However, another way you can use notes is you can attach them to an address. So if this note is something that relates to all of their addresses, it's a general note, do not select an address. But if this is a note specific for a location, attach it by selecting the location. And then the bell here, belled notes come in very handy, can be a good time saver, especially when you're doing schedule and dispatch. And if I bell this note, it will be pinned to the top of the customer's timeline. So you'll always see what notes are here. And anytime you make a new job for the location selected, it will add this note to that job. So a good use case for this would be to put things that are not changing, like gate codes, pets. If there's any information, maybe there are filter sizes that you would want everyone to know who's going out there. Whatever information you want to add to this, if it's a belled note and you hit save, this is where it shows up at the very top of your timeline. Even as we add new jobs, it stays right here, so you can quickly reference that info. And let's say I make a new job for Justin and I send one of my technicians out. They will also see that note when they look at the appointment in the mobile app. Next is creating a new job form. So if I click create new job form, this is a way that you can create a new job. Select whether this is a new job you want to create, or do I want to make something for a previous job? Maybe this is a callback. Then select your job type, which type of job this is. Maybe it's a furnace install. And then you have three options. You can make a job only, which means it will be an empty job folder with no invoice or proposal yet, and you will add those later. Or you can create a job instantly with a proposal or with an invoice. Our primary contact is the main contact for this account. If you want to do text messaging, you do need to have a phone number available here in the mobile app section. And then down below, under that, this is where you will have your locations. Now, for commercial customers, their billing address and their location will probably be the same thing. But maybe for a commercial, they have different accounts payable, receivables, different accounts here. That's up to you on what you need, but to create a new address for either section, you will click the red plus button. to add a new location. Just as a pro tip when for using this, the location name comes in really handy. You can just put in the address, and when you go to look, it will just say the address. But sometimes you might not remember which address, like who's at this address, what is the details about this address. And that's what location name is good for. You can also set a default tax group if you want the system to set a tax group that may be different from what the default is. Taxes are pulled by the zip code. So when I create a new invoice, let's say, and I start adding items, if they are taxable items, it will look at the location, look at the zip code, and automatically pull the taxes for that customer. But let's say you want to offer 0% tax for a work you're doing for a school. You could set the default tax group here to 0%, and then it will default to that instead of what it would pull from the zip code. Once you add them, you will be able to see their addresses here. And as you can see, our customer, Justin here, has some rental properties. So I went ahead and just named them rental property 1, 2, 3, 4. And that makes it easy to know a little more detail about those locations. Underneath that, we have settings and preferences. You can set defaults for what payments you want to accept from them, the payment terms. Do they prefer a Spanish-speaking technician? What's their preferred method of communication? Maybe the customer's like, if you send me an email, I am not going to see it. So, yeah, I would set it to text in that case. And then here is where you can also update their email preferences. If they have a preferred technician, let's say, the technician went out and really wowed them and they're like, please send Dustin to us again. He was excellent. You can set that here. And when you're scheduling, it'll let you know when you're selecting. There's like an area to select your technician. You'll be able to see the preferred technician there when scheduling. Growth potential, this is really just kind of a reminder if they have a system, let's say, and you know that that system is needing to be replaced in 2027. Set that here. How much money will you make from doing that new install, and save? And then this is just a good reminder to check. Oh, hey, it looks like we're getting close. That's next year. So I may want to start having that conversation for that new install. Any attachments that you add, whether you're adding them from the office or from the field, will show down here for reference. And you can look at customer attachments, which would be attachments you're adding to the customer only, and it's not related to a specific job, or job attachments, which would be added via the job page and be inside that job folder. Now, on the right side, we have a few tabs: timeline, payments, equipment. So let's go through these tabs. The timeline allows you to filter by location, sub-customer group, or job number and name. If I start typing in, 13599, I'll be able to pull up my jobs here. And each of these rectangles are jobs themselves. So we can see this is when we did our fall maintenance. We had a no AC call, service call. You can click on the arrow here, the little red arrow in the bottom right of the rectangle, to see what is inside of each of these jobs. So for this fall maintenance, we have an appointment and an invoice. Maybe for the service call, we have an appointment, call notes, job notes, proposals, invoices, and a payment. So you can quickly view everything that's inside of these folders, but if you want to actually go into the job and look at it, you would just click on the job number, and then that brings you to this job page where you'll see all the details for this job. Next is payments. So from the payments, you have your total customer balance. So this is how much they have in outstanding balances from invoices that you've sent to them. You have some options to take payment. So in your system, if I create an invoice, I can take the payment directly from the invoice, but you can also take payment from here. Let's say, well, some details about this. Process payment will process the payment through WEX FSM and send the money to your bank account. That would be like taking a card payment or even using ACH check payment using their bank account, and that will process. Record payment is if you are processing outside of WEX FSM. A good example of this would be someone hands you cash, makes a cash payment. You'll want to record that you took that payment, but you'll still need to take the cash to the bank for it to process into your account. And then add credit and refund. This will allow you to add credits and refunds. If you provide a refund, it will go back to the customer in the form of payment they originally used when they made the payment. Let's record a payment just for an example here. So we will click record payment, and it will pull up all outstanding invoices in their system that you could make a payment towards. Let's say we're going to pay this $150 invoice. So we selected our invoice. If I have a check that is to pay for 3 jobs we've done for someone, I would just select those 3 invoices. So you can make a payment towards multiple invoices at a time if needed. Scroll down. We're making a $150 payment towards this invoice to pay it in full. And let's say that the customer used a check today. Add a memo if you need for historical reference, and then hit record payment. We can see the balance has gone lower. And then when you go to check on that invoice, you'll see that it's marked as paid. Now you may see this. So this says customer has 2 payments and 2 credits that are not fully applied to an invoice. This is a scenario where you can take a payment without an invoice, but in order for it to actually, process and be connected to the job, it does require an invoice. This scenario would be you're talking to the customer, they're ready to give you money in that moment, and we do not want to prevent anyone from paying us money. So you could take the payment, but maybe you don't have time to build the invoice yet. To do that, you will click either process or record payment. And then you will select payment without invoice. So if I wanted to take, let's say, $100 payment that they are paying for an invoice I haven't created yet, we'll take that payment. We'll say, let's say they paid with cash today, and hit record payment. Now, since we did payment with an invoice, it attaches to the customer account, but it will stay here until we create an invoice, and then we can attach that payment to that invoice. To do that, you will click on the edit icon here, and then we want to reassign payment. And then let's say, see if we have a $100 invoice we can apply it to. In this scenario, you would build out the invoice and you're going to apply that payment. So that's fine. Let's just use this one. And then from here, we want to say, so we're no longer making a payment without an invoice. So we're going to delete from there. And then we're saying, here's the original payment that we're going to pay towards this invoice. And then hit save. So there we go. Once you make that payment, you'll be able to see that on that job when you go look at it. Payments and credits by invoices will show you your invoices and the payments made to those invoices. If you have the customer set up on a recurring payment plan, details about that will be here. Your customers can send you their card information or bank account information to store that securely on file. We are PCI compliant, so it's very secure having their info in here. But some customers, they're just like, why don't you just put my card on file and charge me when you need me? Because I'm a busy person. So that's up to you. You can add that here. And then for customer statements, if you do send statements out to your customers, a record of that will show here. Okay. When you click add credit or refund, let's just do an example of this. You can either do a credit and a refund together, credit only, or refund only. Let's say I want to add a credit. I will do credit only. You can add a credit to the invoices that are here, or you can do a credit without an invoice. Let's say that I want to do a $50 credit for this invoice. We'll select that invoice, and then you are able to enter the credit amount and apply credit. This is actually not a good example to use because I have already applied a credit. So let's do this one instead. There we go. Let's say for this one, we'll add a $50 credit. And there we go. You apply credit. And we can see the invoice number, the total, the balance, and the credit amount applied. And we can see that it just subtracted from the customer balance as well. Okay, so that is the payments tab. Next is the equipment tab. We all know how important it is to have documentation of equipment on location. That way, the technicians are well informed when they get there. They can even sit in the truck and see all the details of the equipment they're about to look at when they go in to start doing the job. You can add equipment from here by clicking Add Equipment. And you can get very detailed with the equipment. So you can add a equipment name, model number, manufacturer, description, serial number. Is it in a confined space? Where is it in on the grounds? And then you can upload a photo as well. And when you go to look, you'll be able to see that photo in the equipment log. Hit save to save the equipment. And then not only will that show up in the equipment section, it will also show up for any job that you do for that address. And you don't have to think about it. I create a new job. I go out to the field. I hit the equipment button. All the history of the equipment will be right there in this list. Maintenance plans. You can add maintenance plans to your customers from this page by clicking the red plus button. You can also add maintenance plans from an invoice. And then once they, pay for that invoice, you'll be able to come here and see the maintenance plan details and the jobs that you will go out and do for that maintenance plan contract. You can also schedule your maintenance plan visits directly from here. Let's say I'm talking to Justin. Hey, you signed up for the Comfort Club plan in January, and it is now time for us to come out and do your, spring maintenance. So we're going to go ahead and schedule that. So you would click on the little calendar here, and now you can very easily schedule the maintenance visit. Now, if you would like a deeper dive into maintenance plans, you can always go to our maintenance plan webinar live or watch the replay. And we also have some tutorial videos. To find this, you can go to the Help Center in the bottom right and go to Video Courses and webinars. You can search our calendars to see, when the maintenance plan session is available, or watch it on your own time down below here under past webinars. And our maintenance plans, we have a basics, which is like setting it up from scratch, and advanced, which is diving deeper into, tracking renewals, reporting, things like that. The contacts tab, this is important. If you want to send any type of communication to your customer, they have to be part of the contacts tab here. So yes, you will add different locations and maybe there's a different contact for each location here, but you don't add the contact info in the location. You need to add them to your contact list. Think of this as like, a Rolodex or just a contact page where all of the contacts you want to send communications to live. To add a new contact, click Add Contact, enter in their information, and hit save. And just remember, if you want to text this customer, it does need to be a mobile phone. If you put the mobile phone number in the home phone section and mobile is empty, it will not let you send the text message. It does require the mobile phone to do texting. Up just above the contacts tab, we have the status of this customer profile. Most of your customers, dare I say, almost all, will be active. That means their account is in good standing and you are doing work with them. If maybe you were working with a company that went out of business, you're no longer going to service them. You can set their account to inactive. And maybe they haven't paid you and you don't want to do any more work for them until it's time, until they pay, and then you'll reconsider. You can put their account on hold. Accounts that are on hold will not be like the system won't let you do actions for them. So someone can't accidentally set an appointment for this account because their account is on hold. And then referral source is where you can update where the customer heard about your company. Okay, so that is the full overview of the customer page. And now let's go into some customer settings. First, let's go to settings, customers and scheduling, customer preferences. This is a simple page. The customer preferences page allows you to generate a customer number if you want. By default, this is off. Some of my customers, they don't use customer numbers because your system creates job numbers. Every time a job is created, a job number will be created. But maybe there's something that is requiring you to have a customer number. Then if you turn this on, each customer that's created, they'll have like a customer ID number also attached. And then what format do you want to see your customers in QuickBooks? And you can just, there's a couple options here. Once you have these preferences set, click Save to put them into play in your system. And then next, let's take a look at some customer reporting. We'll go to reporting. So in your main navigation in the top left, click on reporting. And then from here, let's go to the customers report. So under customers, click the customers report here. And that brings us to the customers report. From here, it'll tell you all of your customers in your system and which of those customers have a active maintenance plan. You can search by filters. So customer creation date, last visit date, maintenance plan status, customer type, customer status. Uh, and then if you want to download this information, the download button is actually right here. It looks like a little TV with an arrow pointing down. Click on that, and you can download as an image, which is a JPEG file, crosstab, which is a Excel file, and then PDF or PowerPoint. And it will pull the filtered information. So if you don't put in any filters, it'll pull everything. If you put in some filters, when you do the download, it'll only pull what you have filtered out. And then from here, it's similar to the customer page. You can just search through and see information at a glance from here. And then if we, I think that is everything on here. Let me check my notes. Yep. Okay. Very good. So that is all the information that we have for today's presentation. I hope you guys learned something. We're going to go to our Q&A now, but I just want to say thank you so much for joining. My name is Mark with WEX Field Service Management, and this has been Customer Account Management.